What is your take on the Memecoin Supercycle and just how crazy it can get from here?
I think one thing that people are missing, people love to put things into buckets,
Of course.
right? So
Yeah, yeah.
they love to say that this cycle is the meme coin cycle. This is the last cycle for meme coins.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
I think crypto from day one was the meme coin super cycle. You know
Ooh,
what I mean? It's like,
that's interesting.
I think if you really take a step back, everything is a human construct. Everything is a meme. Whatever. I don't want to get into the the philosophical aspect of it necessarily, but the point that I kind of want to make is people want to speculate and play with cultural with these cultural assets. So you've had NFTs for a very very long time, and people want to create them too, not just because it's exciting and it's fun. No, obviously, they're in. Most people are in it for the money because you can create something and it can go crazy, right? This is crypto's number one use case from day one has been speculation and it's been permissionless asset creation.
Yeah, yeah.
Simple. This is what it is. And the way you differentiate yourself, so if anyone can create an asset, and especially now, so people used to be able to create assets basically for free. Yeah, you had to seed liquidity for a couple $1,000s. You had to kind of know your shit, and the tech used to be more complicated. And onboarding was not very. There's tons of friction, and there still is today. But the point is that people used to be able to do that, and they're still able to. But because anyone is able to do it, the only way to differentiate yourself is through culture, right? Especially when the tech is so complicated and it takes so long to develop these things, right? I feel like people over index on how successful technologies have been in crypto. So they're like, okay, NFTs have failed, therefore crypto is a failure because there are no non-speculative use cases after such a long time. This is, tech takes a really long time to actually play out. And I feel like because anyone is able to create their own asset, it just seems like everything. It kind of seems like everything is a meme from day one because you don't really know how things are going to play out. If you buy into some sort of tech coin or a DeFi coin, you don't know if people are going to be using it in a couple of years, and you have all these regulatory issues, so you don't know if it's like going to be tied to this DeFi protocol's revenue or not. And ultimately, so this is for the tech coins.
Yeah.
But aside from that, people from day one just wanted to create coins for the sake of creating coins. So the only way to differentiate yourself there is through culture. And again, you see that again and again today for things that don't even have assets attached to them yet. You've got tons of projects like Monad, Barachain, etc. that value culture very heavily because they see that. I mean, you're gonna see Smokey, for instance, say that too. Like what they're building is a large experiment, right? There's a good chance it's gonna succeed. There's also a chance it's gonna fail. But ultimately, these tech is like one big experiment. So you need to make people believe in it somehow, so that you can get them together and test it out and try it out. And to get there, you need to differentiate yourself culturally somehow, because you can't just give them a white paper and be like, believe in this.
Well, that's the thing that's so funny about the infra coins is like, if we take the fact that there's minuscule differences across them, and then the majority of CT participants have no clue what it is or how it works under the hood, the only thing that differentiates them is the culture on top of it. Like even with the L2s, it feels like L2 is just one giant glob, and they're all basically the same to anyone that actually uses the front end of them. And then the only differentiating fact, like the only reason I would use like Blast over a base over an Arbitrum or whatever else is like, okay, Fantasy Top is sick. I want to use Fantasy Top. It's on Blast. I'm going on Blast. Like that's what's interesting to me about the infra debates, where it's like it feels like there's so much negative energy towards like the memes and the culture and putting things in a bucket. Like it's like infra tech coin or it's like culture meme stupid. When in reality, this side of the equation is what makes this side actually interesting and grow users.
Yeah, I mean, everything is business at the end of the day. So if you don't get users on it, like at some point, or people talking about it at some point, it's going to fail. So it doesn't matter if your tech is much better than anything else. If people didn't use it, it doesn't matter. And I think a lot of the infra people kind of know that. And I think those that really accept it and appreciate it have done much better than everyone else. I think there's a very big reason why Base has seen a lot of success. Obviously, I think I like to use Base as an example because it's so obvious. Why do people use Base? It's because it's backed by Coinbase, right?
Coinbase.
It's fucking Coinbase, and but it's the narrative. It's the narrative behind it. Do they have really sick onboarding for Coinbase users to Base right now? No, absolutely not. And are they going to be close to it in the next couple of months? Maybe a bit closer, but it's not. They're not there yet, and they will say that too. Like I'm not taking this. I'm not like throwing shade or anything. This is what they're saying, and it's true. But people use Base, and people like go there because number one, there's stuff for them to do. But secondly, before there's anything for them to build, why did Dan Romero decide to build Farcaster there, or Frentech? Why did they decide to build on there on day one? There was a really strong narrative that they knew they were going to be able to get users on there because, Coinbase it's the strong brand. People are attracted to it. Maybe one day it's going to help onboarding flow. They're a big team. Maybe they can help me build. Everything is driven by narratives, and the tech only gets really relevant if you end up really succeeding. So for instance, if pump.fun succeeds and there's tons of congestion on Solana, that's obviously not a great thing. In the last couple of months, in the last month or so, I'd argue that hasn't really been much of a challenge. And that proves that Solana is actually good tech because a few months ago, we've had some issues with congestion, but slowly it's becoming a non-issue. And hopefully with Fire Dancer, these things become it becomes even less, there's even less friction for users to face. And that actually proves that the tech is good. But that comes later. What comes before is culture. And when you talk about DeFi and these sorts of applications, you also talk about liquidity because liquidity matters so much too.
Is there any part of what pump.fun has added to the space